Hi, folks. So, you know, I was just thinking about sometimes the jobs that we need to do to earn money. Maybe sometimes not necessarily very ethical or moral, okay? But we need the cash, we need to get by, we need to survive. And so sometimes we need to do what we need to do. And that can be compromising to our spirits, there's no question about it. But then again, if rent has to be paid and you need to buy food, it's like you got to do what you got to do sometimes. But there's a fine line between that, between saying, well, I'm justified in, I don't know, maybe selling some harmful products to people or something, or you're part of an establishment really, or a company that's really, I don't know, causing a lot of pain and misery to people and putting a lot of strain on resources, natural resources and environments and things like that. It's like there's a fine line between where you got to ask yourself, is this relatively okay for me and within my integrity, the job that I'm doing, or is it not? Like, am I selling out? Am I just sort of, I don't know, putting everything good aside just to make the money, about putting everything good about myself aside and being a human being, and just making the money, and so again, hard call. I'm not talking about Dan, if you're listening. I'm not talking about you particularly, but yesterday I was speaking to a lady that I bumped into, and a long story, and she does cold call sales, where she phones up people and she wants to sell them insurance or something like that. And she says that, people slam the phone down on her, people, just shout at her and scream at her and say, how did you get my number, and how dare you phone me, and whatever it is. And she says, and that's like a large percentage of the calls that she makes, and that's kind of the way that she spends her day. And by the time she's gotten home after work, she's just exhausted and miserable, and she doesn't enjoy doing it, but it's really the only job that's come available for her, like in the last 4 months, and so she's got 2 kids to feed, so what must she do? She's got to do what she's got to do. And so it's, on the one hand, we could say, as maybe people, when people are trying to call us to sell us something, that we could be patient and listen to them and whatever it is. But for myself, I personally don't have the time. When somebody calls me, I'll just say I don't have money, or and if they hassle me, then I basically just put the phone down or something or other. There's just no point. You can see that they're not taking no for an answer. We're not those kind of salesmen. They're not taking no for an answer. And so what I'm saying is that for this, on the one hand, as people receiving the cold calls, and even though we're genuinely not interested, how do we handle them? Do we just be rude and slam the phone down and shout at them? Or do we, give them a bit of moment of their time and as respect for another human being? But what I'm saying is that often of the time, their job is not a respectable job, in a way. I'm saying, it's not. I'm involved in a job that's not very respectable for me. I sell damaged shoes from my father's company. Okay, they're slightly damaged or whatever it is. And now for myself, I'm not cool with it. It's lady fashion shoes, but and I don't think that it's a necessity item for a lot of people. That's just who I am. I don't know. I'm just not who I am. But that's what it's come down to. I ran a massage shop, something holistic, a spa, whatever it is, very fair price. It didn't do well at all. I didn't even break even. I didn't even cover the rental and the initial, costs of starting it up. So I needed to turn to this kind of industry, which is retail, which is fashion. And believe me, it's not my calling. It's not my strong point. It's not something that I'm been longing to do and feel sort of very righteous about. But I got to pay the rent, folks. I got to pay my way, and I employ 2 friends of mine that I know through the job. And so without that, they on the street, man. So what I'm saying is that it's difficult, folks. We are put in a bit of a conundrum here. We are put in a bit of a tough situation and reality in the world that we live in by having to do jobs that aren't necessarily within our character and within our sort of conscious integrity, if you want to call it. So it's difficult, But again, you don't have to be an arse. Okay, so coming back, you don't have to be an arsehole of a salesman. You're trying to make sales, but don't be manipulative, I really find. That's what's one thing. We can still try and keep our morals and ethics and integrity a little bit by not doing something that's overboard, by not being forceful, by not being disrespectful to other people in a way. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said here, but you know, it's like I just find there was a woman as example, I have I have a water cooler in my house, and I pay for reverse osmosis water that's been, you know, whatever it is, like cleaned and whatever it is, and I have a contract with them where I pay them you know, not a big amount, but I buy bottles from them. And now for myself, I don't need so many bottles, because I was actually, you know, having these 25-liter bottles that were too much for me, because I was running this massage shop. The massage shop closed down, so I phoned the you know, the salespeople. I said, listen, I want to change my account. You're sending me 4 bottles of, you know, gallons, I don't know, well, these containers of water, I don't know what you want to say it, you know, these cooler things, and I just don't need them. And I left a message, and the saleswoman phones me back, and she says, Aaron, what are you doing to me here? You're killing me here. And I'm like, what? You know? She says, you're killing me here. Why are you taking my business away or something? And I couldn't believe her response. I said to her, listen, I don't need so much water. I had a shop, I had clients and whatever it was, and now the shop closed down. I don't need so much water. So then she says, oh, but maybe we can put you on this gold executive package. And then I say, okay, well, let me see if it's any better. She sends me the email, and I look, and it's like, no, woman, you're ripping me off. I don't need this. You're not understanding. You're not respecting who I am. Okay? And so that's what I'm saying, was completely impolite and completely disingenuous about her, like trying to con me into some kind of executive exclusive gold member package or something which I don't really need. Okay? And so what I'm saying is that, like, you know, she can make the call, she can call me and ask me why, and then she must respect where I'm holding, where I'm standing, you know. And what I'm saying is that I think today, and I've been doing a video on respect, I just haven't gotten around to uploading it, but like this idea of respect is that, you know, some people, they just don't care. They just really don't care. And they'll lie to you, they'll manipulate you, they'll pressure you, and they feel that they're justified in order to get the money, because, you know, they need to live, and they do need to live, you know. And do you need to pay the rent and whatever it is, and maybe their life is stressful for them. Maybe they've got a sick child in hospital, and they're trying to fill the, you know, foot the bill, pay the bill, and they just can't seem to do it, and so they feel pressure, and so they feel that they can take, you know, at any means necessary to try and make sales. Anyways, folks, and there's so many industries that are like this, and there are so many people, and like, you know, advertising, for example, when I hear these people on these voiceovers, and like they're all excited, it's like, you know, switch on the radio and just listen to one advert, right, and see how annoying it is, and how sort of demeaning it is to even listen to it. And the advertising makes like you stupid, right? And I found that 90% of advertising today is almost, it's directed for adults, but it's designed in a way to be very childish, to be absolutely childish and silly, if you ask me. I don't see any adverts that have got any integrity or very well done. I must say, a lot of them are absolutely childish. And what I'm saying is that marketers, people who are marketing, they say, well, you know, this is what we got to do. This is sort of the angle that we aim at in order to get people's attention. And this is how, you know, we have to make the person absolutely feel stupid in a way in order for, I don't know, maybe there's a psychological, purpose to it, of trying to make advertising firstly as ridiculous, as silly, as in your face as possible. And it's sometimes as, I would say, controversial as possible. Okay, using women that are cladly dressed or barely dressed just to sell, I don't know, a hamburger, for example. It's like no scruples, you know. What about the people on YouTube that trick people with thumbnails, or trick people with bait clicking or something like that, you know? Is it wrong? Is it right? Is it called for? It's hard to say. Maybe this YouTuber guy, he's absolutely, you know, he's paying his rent by his YouTube channel, and he's got 3 kids to feed and whatever it is, and something or other, and so he feels that he needs to do what he needs to do at all costs, you know, at whatever, you know, whatever cost necessary. I'm saying cost to other people necessary. And so what I'm saying, folks, in a way, is that we live in a very desperate time. There's no question about it. And we're not living off the land, and it's not a free world, okay? Everything has a price to it. Everything has an hour, well, not everything. I mean, air doesn't, almost, you know, but like most things, in order to live, you need to have the bucks, okay? You need to have the Benjamins, and everybody's out for the Benjamins. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are out for more Benjamins than are absolutely necessary, okay? Is it right or wrong? Is it unhealthy? Is it healthy? Who knows? It's the condition and the way of the world that it is. So I suppose my message is being for all of us folk that are sort of have integrity left, all right, and are doing jobs that maybe we're not particularly proud of, but we don't really have a choice. Maybe we've tried many other avenues, but we just don't have a choice, that we are maybe doing certain things that are against our integrity. But at the same time, we try and do the best that we can to still stay in our integrity, in our honor, in our respect for others, and self-respect for ourselves, okay? That we don't become corrupted. We don't join the bandwagon of culture and society that feels like you can, do whatever you want at any means necessary to get what you want in order for you to survive, okay? I mean, I know it's a survival thing. It's all survival strategies if you think about it. It's all just about survival. It's like if you take away people's money, if you take away their way of income or earnings, they're dead almost, in a sense, in a way. They're homeless. They can't survive. They can't look after their children. So folks, that's what I'm saying, is that we live in a world that is massively about survival. Massively about survival. And so the thing is that, again, so we understand that we are in the situation. We're doing things that we are trying to keep ourselves alive and healthy and look after people in our lives, or whatever it is for some of us, or for a lot of us. But the point is not to lose our integrity, and also you see, this is a tricky one. It's like, if someone is like that woman who's sending me the water, I don't mind to tell her, listen, where she can get off, because I just think she's crossed the boundary. I think she's crossed the line. So what I'm saying is that I think we should be fair to people that don't cross the line, and just to be polite or respectable to them, because if we're not, we're just part of another person in their day that's just giving them a rough time and a hard time, So let's be sensitive to some degree, but a reasonable degree, okay? Let's not be arseholes about it or something or other. Let's not be like when we're returning an item that's broken and the guy behind the counter, he's just doing his job. He didn't even make the item. He didn't even sell it to us in the first place. But we feel that it's okay to go back and scream at him and shout at him because, the item broke 2 days after you purchased it or something like that. I'm saying let's be reasonable with who we're dealing with. I didn't want to keep this a long talk, but what happened for myself was I was booking a local flight, and they took the money out of my credit card, but they never confirmed the flight. So I phoned them up, and they said to me, there's no money reflected in our account, so we're not paying you anything. I said, the money's gone out of my account. I can prove it to you. They said, well, you got to go to your bank and then get this authorization number and then come and prove it to us or something like that. And I was like, man, do you know how much time you're talking about here? Firstly, I spent 20 minutes on the phone just waiting for you to answer the darn phone, right? And also, you were never going to phone me in the first place, okay? So I was trying not to shout at the woman who was just, was just in the accounts department. It's not her fault. She's just following rules. She's just following, the rules of the company. She didn't design the system. It's not a flaw on her behalf, okay? But I'm saying I take it out on her because she represents the company. So I try not to take it out on her, but also at the same time I take it out on her maybe in a way where she's not sympathetic and say, look, Aaron, you're right, it's a bugger up. I can understand the frustration. You got to go to your bank now. You got to go sit in the queues, okay? You got to go come back to us, wait another 20 minutes on the telephone at all your expense in order for us to to do the right thing, because we didn't do it was a mistake on our behalf, but we're not prepared to correct it, okay? Same airline that my laptop got stolen with as well, which was a whole nother story, but they refused to even pay me a cent or give me a gift voucher or give me a voucher or something or other. They just didn't care. But they're just following the rules. Okay, they're just following the rules. And so it's tricky. It's very hard because we're getting upset with one another for other rules that have been put in place by other people. Okay. And again, if I go to that airline and I manage to speak to the manager or the boss or the CEO, he's going to look at me and say, get out of my office. What are you bothering me for? I've got 1 million people flying a week. I have maybe 50,000 of those. I'm just giving a hypothetical or whatever it is. I'm saying they deal with such large numbers. I'm such a small fish. They don't give a darn. They don't care. And who am I going to complain to? Go to social media? Oh, please. I mean, they don't care. No one's interested in a sense. Okay. And so what I'm saying is that, again, I could go on for ages and find so many examples of this, of what I'm talking about. But my point being here is that we just got to really try and tolerate to a certain degree and try and be our, sort of patient and not lose it. Not lose it, because there's so much of this going on. There's so much of like your rights, your respect, being taken away by others. And it's just it's frustrating and it's overwhelming, and it's like, what's happened to human beings? But unfortunately, again, this is the way the world's been set up, and this is what we got to do. But again, we got to know the fine lines of not losing our own respect and honor and integrity about what we're doing and who we're dealing with and what's going on. That we just don't take it out on people that don't deserve for it to be taken out on. Okay, so that's just one thing, but I'm saying it's acceptable for us to be so frustrated because we just feel so compromised by the society and culture we live in. Whether it's by paying taxes, by the bloody government and all their laws and whatever it is, it's like things are not on our side, on the human side. They're not. This world is not built for the human being. In the human spirit, if you ask me, it's not built for it. It's capitalism, it's consumerism, and whatever it is. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just the way that it's happened. It's just the way that it's happened, and it's come about. It's my phone, And so, the fine print of things, how much fine print is there? I was speaking to a guy who bumped into my car the other day. His insurance phoned me. I was speaking to the woman. She was telling me about all the hidden costs and things like that. It was frightening. She said, and nobody even bothers to ask. Bank charges, sundry charges, that the bank charges you. Oh, we needed to charge you, I don't know, $10 because of X, Y, and Z. And, but they can't justify it. They just take money out of your account. All the hidden charges, all the hidden costs or whatever it is. And, in contracts, cell phone contracts in just rentals, leases, agreements, and whatever it is, it's like, it's just overwhelming. How many contracts do we sign? How many software programs do we download and then agree to the terms without even really agreeing to the terms? Agreeing to Facebook terms, Yahoo terms, Gmail or whatever it is terms. And we don't know what we're getting ourselves into, Because who's got the time to sit and read through 15 pages of legal terms that you have no idea what they're saying? You're not a lawyer, okay? It's you don't understand it. And so you're screwed. And you're screwed. And that's the problem, is that we're having to get screwed all the time just by living in this world, unfortunately. And it's just the way it is. But my point being is maybe taking more of a healthy approach is just knowing what you're dealing with. Knowing that it's not so personal, in a way. Knowing the bureaucracy of things, And it's just a shitty deal. It's a bum deal at times. So what can you do about it, What can you do about it? You just try and keep a brave face, keep your head on your shoulders and keeping your integrity, your honesty, and and higher qualities without becoming corrupt, because it's so easy now to lose it and become corrupt, But I don't know, up to the individual. All right, folks, I'll leave it at that for now. We'll chat soon. Take care.